You know, there's this hidden language in everything we do, a silent negotiation of status that's happening in every meeting, every conversation, every single email. And in that language, one of the most common words we use is, believe it or not, often the most destructive. It's a single word that acts as a surrender signal. And really understanding its hidden cost, well, that's the first step to reclaiming your power.
Just let that sink in for a second. We're all taught that saying sorry is a good thing, right? It's a sign of politeness, of being a decent person. But what if it's broadcasting something else entirely? What if it's actually a signal of submission? A quiet little announcement that your ideas, your time, and even your physical presence are just less valuable than everyone else's.
I really want you to ask yourself this, because what we often think of as just being likable or easy to get along with is actually, in the cold hard physics of social influence, a kind of unconscious surrender. It's you quietly telling everyone around you that you're not a threat and that you're perfectly willing to take up less space. We think we're building bridges, but what we're really doing is training people to see our contributions as less important. And look, this isn't about being a jerk. It's about understanding the seriously high cost of one specific corrosive verbal habit.
And this right here is the absolute core of the problem. When you apologize for asking a question or for taking up a minute of someone's time, or, and this is the craziest one, when you apologize for someone else bumping into you, the underlying message is always the same. My existence here is an inconvenience. It's an error. It's a mistake that needs your forgiveness to fix. And that perception, well, it has a steep price.
So this habit, it isn't just some abstract idea. No, it has real, tangible consequences that stack up over time, and they create what we can call status debt, a trap that can be incredibly hard to climb out of. Let's just talk about how this actually plays out. We've all seen it, and let's be honest, most of us have done it. You say sorry, just a quick question, before you even speak in a meeting. You apologize when someone else cuts you off in the hallway. You're trying so hard to be considerate, but you're actually doing something completely different. The first major hit you take is the erosion of what we'll call your cognitive sovereignty. That's your basic authority over your own thoughts and the value you bring to the table. See, over-apologizing just slowly eats away at it. It's a slow burn loss of influence where you start to find you're being ignored in debates, you're getting passed over for big projects, and your best ideas are somehow being credited to other people. You basically become background noise. And all that erosion, it creates this profound feeling inside of you, a feeling of what we can call status debt. It's that constant nagging sense that you owe everybody something, that you're starting every single interaction in the red, and you have to somehow earn your right just to be in the room. It is exhausting, and it is a complete lie. Think about it this way. Every single time you say an unnecessary sorry, it's like you're handing someone a little status coupon. It's a coupon they can cash in later to claim your time, your energy, and your respect. They feel entitled to interrupt you, to dismiss your opinion, to ask for more from you, because you've already signaled that their needs are way more important than yours. Okay, so we see the problem. But how does it actually work? Why is this habit so darn effective at dragging our status down? Well, the answer is in this hidden system, a feedback loop that just gets stronger with every single interaction. This is where the trap slams shut. And look, this isn't random. It is a predictable 4-stage cycle. Understanding this loop is the absolute key to breaking it, because it lets you see the gears turning in real time. It shifts you from being a pawn in the game to an observer of it. So here they are, the 4 gears of the machine. It all kicks off with step 1, the face threat trigger. This is just some minor social friction, a tiny awkward moment that makes our brain kind of panic. That trigger immediately leads to step 2, status leveling. This is where we fire off that unnecessary sorry. It's a verbal signal that says, I am below you. Then, other people's brains instinctively perform step 3, the hierarchy scan. Subconsciously, they log our apology and they file us away as being lower on the totem pole. And all of this leads to the final stage, step 4, boundary erosion. Now, others feel totally empowered to interrupt us or dismiss us, which of course triggers more anxiety in us, and it just restarts the whole crazy loop all over again. So we've seen the social mechanics of this loop, but to really truly dismantle it, we need to get why it's so powerful. Why do our own brains and the brains of everybody else fall for this trick so easily? Well, the answer is hardwired into our thinking. Okay, here's the real leverage point. Our brains absolutely love shortcuts. They're called heuristics, to make sense of the world without using a ton of energy. And one of the most powerful ones is called the Heuristic of Responsibility. It's a simple and usually pretty effective rule of thumb.
So here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. When you apologize for bothering someone, their brain doesn't sit there and debate the nuance of the situation. Nope, it takes the shortcut. It believes you. It concludes that you are, in fact, a bother. When you apologize for taking up space, you are telling everyone's subconscious mind that you don't deserve to be there. It's like it weaponizes this psychological thing called the halo effect, but in reverse. Your perceived need for permission, your constant apologizing, it casts this shadow over everything else you do. Your competence, your brilliant ideas, they all get filtered through this lens of you being someone who needs to ask for forgiveness just for showing up. And this urge, it comes from somewhere deep, deep in our evolutionary biology. It's all tied up with something called trait anxiety. For thousands of years, if you got cast out from the tribe, you were dead. Simple as that. So our brains develop this incredibly powerful pacify the tribe instinct. That fawning, apologizing response is a leftover piece of that survival code. It's an attempt to signal, hey, I'm not a threat. But in our modern world, that instinct is wildly out of whack.
Okay, we've diagnosed the system, we've looked under the hood at the psychology. Now let's talk solutions. How do we break this loop? And this isn't about becoming aggressive or rude. It's about a very precise, very strategic shift in how you communicate. This is the new strategic objective. You are not trying to appease anyone. You are claiming your right to be present, your right to contribute, and your right to take up the space you deserve. You're shifting from a defensive crouch to a posture of confident presence. The first tactical step you can take is all internal. The very next time you feel that knee-jerk sorry bubbling up, I want you to just label it in your head. Just think to yourself, this is a submission signal. That simple act of labeling it keeps your rational brain in the driver's seat instead of letting that ancient, anxious part of your brain run the show. All right, now for the external shift. This is the gratitude pivot. Take a look at the slide here. The language on the left, that's the language of debt. Sorry to take your time implies you're a burden. But the language on the right is the language of sovereignty, of granting respect. Thank you for your expertise. Completely reframes the interaction. You're no longer a debtor. You're a sovereign person acknowledging their value. Sorry to bother you becomes, I appreciate you making time. And my personal favorite, sorry, quick question, becomes the clean, direct, I have a question. The next tool for your arsenal is nonverbal. A lot of us use sorry as a filler word, right? A little soft entry before we actually say what we want to say. The high status alternative is just silence. The high status pause. Instead of saying, sorry to interrupt, you just pause, you wait for that natural opening, and then you speak. That silence signals that you're comfortable with attention, that you believe what you have to say is worth waiting for. It's an incredibly powerful status cue. And finally, and this is so crucial, we have to reclaim the power of a genuine apology. This is all about ethical accountability. You need to reserve the word sorry for when it actually matters, for an actual breach of contract, spoken or unspoken. Use it only when you have genuinely caused harm or failed on a real commitment. When you do this, your apologies have weight. They build what's called referent power, influence that comes from pure integrity. You're finally separating your anxiety from actual accountability. So, when you boil it all down, what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? It really comes down to a fundamental shift in understanding what it means to just take up space in the world. I want you to let that sink in for a second. Your value, your status, your influence, it's not just signaled by the things you say, but maybe even more so by the things you don't say. It is signaled by the quiet confidence to simply exist without apology, to ask a question without first asking for permission to ask the question, to take a seat at the table and not feel like you have to apologize for the chair you're sitting in. That whole deference-dominance loop we unpacked, it runs on autopilot. It only works because we're completely unaware of it. So the key, the single most powerful tool you have right now is awareness. Simply seeing the system for what it is, understanding the mechanics, is what makes it all collapse. And that's really the final thought. This isn't a call to be arrogant. It's a call for sovereignty. It's a strategic decision to stop broadcasting submission and to start operating from a place of quiet, confident authority. It's time to stop apologizing for your presence and start commanding your position.